The January transfer window closed on Thursday for all clubs in England. How did Bristol City, though, get on during the course of the month? Am I impressed with some of the deals? What are some of the targets for some of the deals as well? Is they short-term? Are they longer-term targets? I'll be discussing everything about the deals that were concluded by Bristol City, both incomings and outgoings as well. So I'll be giving it a rating out of 10 at the end of the video. Let's talk about some of the incomings then. The first one that was officially confirmed by the club was Adam Murphy, who joined on a free transfer, but some compensation was paid to St Pat's. He joined on a permanent deal. Taylor Gardner-Hickman's loan deal was converted into a permanent deal, and he signed a 4-year deal at Bristol City. Scott Twine joined on loan from Burnley after his loan deal at fellow Championship club Hull was terminated. Josh Stokes joined on a permanent deal from National League side Aldershot, but then was loaned straight back to Aldershot in return. Same thing with Max Bird, who joined on a permanent deal from League One side Derby, but then was loaned back to Derby for the rest of the season. And the only real unknown quantity in this, apart from Adam Murphy to a certain extent, Adire Mboude, who joined on a loan deal from KVC Westerlo over in Belgium. So 6 incomings were secured by Bristol City, 3 midfielders, 3 attackers, Taylor Gardner-Hickman, Murphy and Max Bird being the 3 midfielders, and in the attacking position. Scott Twine, who can kind of play as a 10, so I put him as an attacking option here. Josh Stokes and Adire Mboude being the 3 forwards. In terms of a major outgoing, it was only really Andy Vyman who left the club, and the 2 players who joined and then went back out on loan. But Andy Vyman left the club on a loan deal, but it will be a permanent deal. He joined West Brom in January. It will be a permanent deal. He has left the club for good because his contract is up at the end of the season, but that only is the real major departure from the first team squad. If we're going to take Taylor Gardner-Hickman out of this equation, because he was here before the January transfer window, it's only Scott Twine and Adire Mboude, and they're both on loan, and they're both the only ones who are going to have an impact on the squad at the moment. As I said, both on loan. Adire Mboude, there is an option to buy at the end of it. No such option was agreed with Burnley for Scott Twine, but we feel that it might be something for the long term. However, that is a little bit disappointing with the fact that no permanent player was captured who's going to make an impact for Bristol City at the moment. There's obviously no arguing Scott Twine's quality and his pedigree, and the fact that he's worked with Liam Manning before at MK Dons and arguably had the best season of his career to date. But again, that is a loan deal, and Adire Mboude, it feels a little bit different with the fact that he's a bit of an unknown factor, a little bit of an X factor, maybe something different to the current options that Bristol City do possess in those forward areas, and maybe this might be a little bit of a success. However, we have nothing to go on in terms of his previous record in England, so it could be a complete failure, and we just don't know. On the flip side of the short-term argument, there is no real doubts that Bristol City are definitely planning and building for the medium to long term with Liam Manning and this recruitment that we've shown in January. As I said, Max Bird, Josh Stokes, both signed and then loaned straight back to their respective clubs that we bought them from. Adam Murphy brought in for not that much money, young age, really impressed over in the League of Ireland, and hopefully he's going to have an impact, maybe not this season, but hopefully next season in the first team squad. So in terms of a longer term thinking and the age profile we have brought in from different areas of the Football League, particularly in England and in Ireland, it's nice to see that Bristol City are thinking for long term as well. Just quickly touching on the outgoings factor, I don't think Bristol City could have done a lot more really in terms of outgoings at the moment. There's not really a need to have a massive overhaul of the squad in terms of a major turnover, in terms of players we desperately need to get rid of because of high wages or poor attitudes or whatever. They're all at a reasonable level and they're all very committed to the club, clearly, and are putting in a lot into the first team from what I can see. So there's not really much question over that, and with the relatively small squad we have at the moment, and it will be quite risky to have that massive turnover in January in the middle of the season, which could affect squad morale quite a lot. I don't really see the point of that, so I don't see what more Bristol City and Liam Manning could have done, really, in terms of outgoings, apart from the Andy Vyman deal, which was quite beneficial for all parties. We have to remember this was a January transfer window and not a lot of money is typically spent throughout this time of year. So, considering that, I'm sure Bristol City have spent quite a lot of money. Scott Twine, I'm sure, was not cheap to get him out of that loan deal at Hull, and the fact that he's from a Premier League club, that naturally raises a little bit more money. Taylor Garn-Hickman was converted into a permanent deal, supposedly around 1.3 million. Again, I'm not in the know. I don't know. I haven't seen that deal sheet. Max Bird, I'm sure, was not cheap either to get him out of Derby, with the fact that he's impressed quite a lot. And I think we've spent, a relatively, compared to other clubs in the Championship, quite a lot on youngsters for the future. Josh Stokes, Adam Murphy. Yeah, they wouldn't have been cheap either. And Dira and Bude, again, I'm guessing, but I don't think it would have been too much. But still, a little bit on the loan fee and potential option to buy at the end of it. If we're going to give it a rating, I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10. Again, we have to appreciate this is a January transfer window. Bristol City, in terms of league position, are not really challenging for too much at the moment, so some long-term thinking wouldn't have gone amiss. And we've added some immediate quality with Scott Twine, who's unfortunately now injured. Taylor Garn-Hickman, securing him to a long-term deal is fantastic news for us, and I'm sure he's going to be a fantastic asset in the long run for Bristol City. And again, Josh Stokes, Adam Murphy, Max Bird are going to be really good players, and hopefully a couple of them will have massive impacts for us next season when they return to the first team squad. Let me know your thoughts on all the incomings and the major departure from the first team squad of Andy Weimann, who's again the only real departure from the first team squad. How's that going to affect us for the rest of the season, or is it going to affect us at all? Let me know your thoughts on the incomings for Bristol City throughout the month in the comment section below, and if you want, also give me a rating out of 10 as well. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, hit like if you haven't already. Bristol City's last game was against Leeds. It was a bit of a footballing lesson, which is why some of these transfers are going to be important, especially in this coming summer. You can watch my matchday vlog on that here, where Bristol City were beaten by a single Wilfred Gnotto goal at Ashton Gate.